Hey, welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to our show. This is the Convene with the Strategy Team, and my name is Tameshia.
And I am Christi Farmer. And make sure, please, like, subscribe, and all the things.
All the things. But you guys have been doing really good, and we thank you so much for the comments that we've been receiving, for the DMs, for the phone calls, the texts. Like, just keep it coming because we need it.
Yes, we appreciate it for sure.
Yes.
So, tell us, what has been going on in Tameshia's world?
Woo! Tameshia's world feels a little all over the place right now.
Okay.
We just got back from Alexandria, Virginia.
Oh, nice.
So,
okay.
Have you ever been to Alexandria?
I have not.
It is definitely a cute place to go for date weekend. Like, if you just want to kind of get away for a weekend, you know, you and Jeremy definitely go and make that happen. The hotel that we stayed at is like maybe a 3-minute walk to this waterfront. There's they have like a little strip scene, so like when you go like to Vegas or New Orleans, those type places, they have that same type strip feel. So it was really cool. So we went for an event, but it ended up turning into more of like a pleasure, work type of thing. And so of course coming back and getting into the swing of things is I looked up and it's time to record a show.
Right.
We're home.
That's right.
All right. How was your week?
It was good. I'm definitely going to take that consider. I know you said for like a date weekend, but I'm really looking into doing a content creation weekend. It really wouldn't be content. I think I'm pretty good on staying top of my content creation. It's the big things in my business that are really going to move the needle.
Right.
That I'm doing the everyday stuff. I need to take like a 3-day weekend where I literally don't sleep. Like, I'm caffeining it up. I go hard knocking out some programs and some systems I need to put in place that I know are going to be next level for me.
When can we do that? Because that's to the point. So I've done it one time before with my godmom. She's an esthetician and she has a business. And so we've gotten together. We were actually in Maryland a few years ago. We we stayed at an amazing hotel, locked ourselves in the room, and we were able to bang out a lot of work in like a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So that may be a thing.
That's definitely what I want. And then when you said, Alex, I'm like, that would probably be a great place for me to go and do. Because I do need, wherever I'm going to be, I do need scenery. Like, I don't need to be locked in no tight room. Like, I need good scenery.
And when I say scenery, so Alexandria is one of those places where people drive into work because they can't afford to live there.
Gotcha.
So it is a very like high class, like creme de la creme type place.
Yeah.
And you'll see it. And when you go there, there's so much to do as far as shopping and dining and that type of thing. And like I said, everybody that I met, I'm like, okay, well, you since you're from here, what is it? Where should I go eat? And they're like, oh, well, we just come to work. We drive an hour away to come into work. Okay. So it's definitely one of those cute places. You can always find a scene to make sure that you're taking pictures of and, new food and stuff like that. So definitely.
Which will be good, too, because wherever I'm at, I'm going to use that for content.
Right.
So I will take pictures while I'm there. I will do short form videos or long form videos that I'll cut up into short form. So it'll work out for a lot of different things, which I think is one of the things we were talking about that we want.
That's literally what we're about to talk about.
So I'm glad you started, because if we didn't initially start off today, I was just asking you what you've been up to, and that literally is like, that needs to be my next thing. There's a course, not a course, it's really it'll be courses that I want to create. I need to sit down and it's all there, it's all here, and I know it's going to be amazing.
Right.
Just trying to fit creating that into my regular schedule where I know I'm going to need a chunk of time to just knock it all out. Not a part today and a part tomorrow and a part. I just need to just bang it out.
And if you're anything like me, so when I sit down to do work, and I have been using your timer method, which has helped a lot. But when I sit down and do work, I will look over and I'm like, oh, well, this need to be cleaned, or let me go get and start this for dinner, or I always find myself being pulled away,
right?
And so I'm up and down a lot. So that's going to be, like I said, when you get yourself away from your own environment, I think you can bang
room
out.
service, you have to cook anything, and
you have to clean anything.
Anybody else has eaten.
No, you don't clean anything. The next day they come in, they change your bed. I mean, so
Exactly.
definitely.
Yeah. So I guess my next question for you would be, when you think about some things that you've automated, like is that even? Because that's what I'm going to go create. I'm going to create some things that once that 3 days weekend is over, it's going to flow and I can go back home into my regular thing, and that I worked on is just going to Like I'll plug my customers in, or I'll plug my team in, my business partners in, and what I've created is just going to rotate and rotate and bring in the money and make other people's lives easier because I've created it. What are some things that you currently have in place for your business that you would like recommend for somebody that they should need to get on this? They need to take some time to just put this in place.
Right. So there's a few things, a few parts of our business that are automated, right?
Okay.
The latest thing that we were able to automate is onboarding our drivers, okay? So back in our the golden ages, which wasn't that far ago, wasn't that long ago, but it seems like forever, we would literally, they would always be able to go online to apply, but then after that, we did receive the form via email, and then after that, we would have to, send them a scheduling link to do an interview with us via Zoom. Then we would have to send them individually all these forms that we needed for them to complete and, and sign up to be onboarded to the company. Now, fast forward, there's a whole system in place. And I'm sure there's a system in place. There's a system for a lot of things that we do that we not necessarily even give second thought, right? I didn't, before I was introduced to this platform, I didn't even think about there's something that once our team or potential team member is added to our system, once they've completed their form, the system does the rest. The only thing that we physically have to do is show up to a Zoom call that had been scheduled for us. So we just show up to the Zoom call, we do the 20-minute interview, and then after that, if we like them, we hit one button, it sends them the forms. If they haven't completed their forms, it reminds them to complete the form. The system does the work for you, which saves time on the back end. One, everything is organized, it's stored in one particular place, but the other part is it gives you back some time to be able to add something else on to fill that position. So whether it's something you need to do for marketing, anything like that, you can definitely have more time for that. Okay. One other thing that we do is our goal is to get people to create accounts on carhops.com, because at that point we have their email address, we have their phone number, and we have pushed them to download the app, right? So when they give us their email address, we already have a series of 7 emails that are in our welcome flow, call it a flow, that will introduce them to the company, will give them a code to try. So if they create an account but they haven't actually used the service, the system puts them in a bucket that says, okay, they created an account and in 3 days they haven't used us. Why? So they're going to get an email suggesting and trying to push them into using our service by offering them a one-time use code. And then if they don't use us within 10 more days, they get something else. So we have several different flows set up, but the main one that I know works is the welcome one. They're going to find out, and two, we're not always like suggesting a sale during this welcome email. When you sign up to the list, you also, I think maybe it's email number 3 or 4, you find out a little bit more about the company, like who we are, why we started, the fact that we're local and the fact that we're not this national or, brand, global brand. We're here, we're local, we're here with you. So those little things help to build trust, and it help to establish who we are and the credibility of our company. Then, from there, we continue to push the sale.
Listen, I'll have to go back and watch it because you have loaded off so many things. I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask her this next. No, but I need to ask her that next. No, but I need to know about this next. So if I could, the first thing I would ask is, are those 2 different systems that you're using? Because you talked about one you use for onboarding of employees, and then you talked about one that is for the follow-up for your customers. Is that two different systems? 2
totally different systems.
Now, I know we're not getting paid yet for advertising or sharing, but I think that's good too, because then people know that you're sharing what actually works and not what's going to get more money in your pocket at this point. Right. So what are those 2 programs, if you don't mind sharing?
So the one that we use for email marketing is Active Campaigns. Okay. And what I like about Active Campaigns is that they integrate into the system that we use that our customers are going to order from. Oh, okay. So when the customer, like I said, create their account, it's already attached to the system. So depending on your business, there are going to be people who use Shopify, right? They can use
Me,
Klaviyo. Yeah, your people. You can use Klaviyo. You can use ConvertKit. There are certain plugins, and you really, for Shopify, I love it because you could just go to the App Store,
right?
Put in email marketing. It's going to give you a list of all the ones that they already have partnerships and deals with.
And you can read the reviews.
A lot of times with Shopify, I go by like how many downloads they've gotten, because the ones that most people tend to use are going to have the most downloads, but just
I sort of operate the opposite in that I look at some of the newer ones that don't have a lot of reviews yet, because they're willing to give you more for your business and you can grow with them. So I found that when I grow with them, that if you go do a review for us, we'll give you 3 months free. Or hey, if you go, I never think
to see, and this is why you have to know your target audience.
Right.
I know we talked about this in previous episodes, but this is why you have to know it, because I'm going for
the first one.
Right, I don't have time to be looking through.
Yeah. I'm going to look at the first one also, and then put into Google their competitors, because who rivals with them? Because sometimes the rival with them is going to purposely, because if you're a good business, you've looked at your rivals and you're going to purposely offer things that they don't offer so that you can get some of their market share, so you can get some of their customers. So I do that also. I look in, and that's why my next question was going to be, how did you find active? Like, did somebody reach out to you? Was it an industry thing that people who do what you do use it? Like, how did you find that one?
So it's because they have a partnership with the software that powers our delivery service.
Okay.
Now, not everybody in our industry, because Active Campaigns is expensive, right? Okay. But it's and not everybody in our industry uses it. So it's something that we have to pay additional for, but it just makes our lives so much easier that it's worth it.
Right.
Because I don't have the time, because a lot of people are still either using like MailChimp or Active Campaigns or all these other ones, but you would have to keep downloading the data that comes in the contacts and stuff that come in from our software and uploading it. And not only that, again, in my particular industry, it keeps track of customers' actions. So if a customer ordered from XYZ local company, restaurant, I would always it tags them, right? But it tags them based off of the actions that they've taken on our platform.
Right.
So I can go back and I can segment them out and say, okay, you know what? You've ordered from XYZ restaurant. Here's a special that we're going to offer just for you because you've already tried them. You know what I'm saying? Right. So we're really into segmenting. We're really into seeing the habits that people have. Some people order from us 3 times a week. Some people order from us 2 times a day. So we really take account of those habits, and then we segment them out and then continue to market. And again, that's our system because it's a little bit more robust. I understand everybody's, may not be there yet.
# goals. I'm like, my interest is peaked. I'm like, okay, so we're going to do what now? All right. Well, and my thought, I'm thinking like, at what point does this become my next step? Like, that's how I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm like, that's not where I'm at now, but at what point would I say it's time to implement that? Or goals, like I need to build to that point. That's how I sit back and think. Like, it's not that I can't do it.
Right.
It's how do I build to that point so that it's something that I'm not doing, that I can pay for an active to do it for me.
To be honest, I really think when it comes to segmentation, I really think that it kind of should be done in the beginning, because the way you talk to me, and I'm not going to look at the reviews, I'm looking at how many people have downloaded.
Right.
It's going to be different from the way you talk to the way I talk to you, which is I know you're in it for the reviews, so I need to put you up I need to email you 5 reviews and how this has changed that person's life and all this stuff. For me, you need to just let me know over 1 million people use it. Okay, I'm sold.
Right. That's a good point you brought about reviews too, because that's a part that when you're in business, you need to have reviews. You need to know how to automate collection of reviews. I was going to say, you can automate it. Yes, automate collection reviews. That's one thing that I put in my emails is, and I don't say if you love, I tell people give us a 5-star review. Like, if you love, give us, no. I just say in my email, give us a 5-star review. And I have the link there where they can go just click and put in the 5-star review. And that is something that can be automated in my emails, which is not, but now I'm saying it out loud. I need to automate my emails that every email goes out should just have a line in there that says, leave us a 5-star review. Click here to leave us a 5-star review. And then that increases my reviews, which is also increases my because it's my business page and I'm sending them to get reviews. And so my Facebook business page.
Okay.
And so that increases my push out automatically without paying for it, right? So I think that some people think like, oh, I need to pay for ads. But there's ways you can increase your look or how many people are seeing you for free, which is getting 5-star reviews on your Facebook business page. Like that automatically increases your level of where you're being put out in comparison to other pages that don't. Like I like about Shopify will tell me people who created a page the same time you did, you're performing at this percentages in comparison to people who have done this. Like I live off those numbers. Like great, okay.
Because it gives you a place. It gives you where you are, right? And then you know where you should be shooting for. You know if you have some work to do. You know if you're outpacing them. So it gives you a clear understanding of where you are. And I love that. Anything that have to do with analytics, reporting, like
our query is black and white. Give us the numbers.
Well, because I don't want to assume anything. Right. So I don't want to be the person that thinks that, just because, we're getting this amount of sales or we're getting this amount of views or likes or whatever, that we're doing good. No, like you got to dig into the numbers. The numbers will show you.
Which I think goes to the review of automation, because we're talking about things that you automate, but then not continuously spending money on a program just because you've had it, but looking at how it's working for you. And is it time to move on? Because you said active is something new that you've used, right? So was there a review? Was there some number? Was there some data that you looked at and you're like, we need to stop using this and use active, or we're not using something, we need to use active, or like what?
Well, it was really because I wanted my time back.
Gotcha.
That was literally the fact is we needed our time back to be able to do other things, and so anything that we can automate. So we talked about the fact that we automate our emails and some of our text messages. With text messages, because we pay per text, we tend to use those as like an ATM. So like if we're looking, right, it's cash, money in the bank.
Okay.
So if we're looking at our numbers and we're realizing that we're behind last week, if we're looking at last week or last month, whatever time period we're looking at, we will come up with a promotion that we can text out, and we can segment our text too. So really the only way we can segment our text is by location. So in the different locations that we serve, we can only send the text messages out to them. And with that, we immediately get business. So before we send the text out, we have to make sure that we have the team in place that's going to be able to handle the volume, right?
Smart.
And with texting and emails, anything that you're sending out, you don't want to overly spam people. And I say that, but then on the other side, I see like a lot of big companies, they will send you 2 emails a day. Like one of our largest competitor, I'm on their list, right? And I get at least 2 emails from them a day.
Yeah, I definitely believe in the thought process of omnipresence. Like you need to be everywhere all the time. Now, I preface that to our audience and to people who are listening, because we will get stressed when you don't have people in place that are working for you to be everywhere. Like it's not that as a single person or you have 2 people who are handling your back office operations, right? That's almost, it's unrealistic to continue to love what you do, enjoy what you do, to be everywhere at all times. But what I mean by omnipresent, like if I'm picking Facebook, like it brightens my day when people were like, dang, I see you on here all the time. And I'm not physically on there all the time, but I am having things put in place that it appears as if I'm on there all the time. That was going to be a
question for you. So have you automated your Facebook marketing?
Some of it. Okay. So, and there was a time where more of it was automated than it is now. Okay. And I am working, which is why I need to spend that 3-day weekend away to get more things back into an automation process on Facebook. Okay. Now, so one of the things I did have, Facebook gives you I don't know the exact title of it, but you can change your personal page over to, let's call it a creator page, right? A professional page. I had changed it over to professional, and then I changed it back to personal. When you're on a professional, when you take your personal page and make it professional, you have the option to schedule posts, like if you were on a Facebook business page. And so I had it, and then I changed it back, and then now Facebook is not making it easy for me to switch back to...
What was the reason for changing it to a personal page?
I didn't it was personal for years, and when they came out with it, I didn't understand it. I went to it, and I felt like it was reducing who I need to be in front of.
Okay.
For example,
okay.
everybody can't send me a message, and people who don't know how to work, like I'm a business person, so I know the ins and outs of social media or Facebook. And a regular Facebook user who's just using it for social aspects, like they don't own a business, they're just a customer.
Right.
They, a future customer or not. They don't understand that when you become a professional page, they take away the messaging option where you just push the button and message somebody.
Okay.
You have to go to the 3 dots.
Yes.
And when you click on the 3 dots, then it allows you to message.
Okay.
And I felt like my customers or my soon-to-be customers, my new followers, they need to be able to message me. And I don't want them to feel like they can't find me to message me. So I was like, I'm taking that off of from professional to the personal. But when I outweigh what's most important to me right now in business is I need to be able to automate more than I need to be worried about 5 or 6 people who can't message me.
Well, and the other parts of that is, and I need to do a little bit more digging. Maybe you guys can know, maybe you know, and if you do know, please drop it in the comments. But I wonder if your engagement, so as a business, they want a business page, they want you to spend the money on the advertisement. But if you have a personal page, you're not even expected to spend money on ads.
Right.
So I actually think, I wonder if with the algorithm, I'm sure the algorithm is different for business pages versus just personal pages.
It is.
So that actually, because I would always tell people you need to make sure you have a business page, but now I'm kind of looking at it depending on the product or service, and if you're a more personable or personal service, you may want to keep a personal page just because, I don't know.
A couple things I advise about going from a personal to a business page, because in my business or my line of work in my business, or what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of word I'm looking for. Y'all
Industry?
know what it is. Industry.
Okay.
That's the word.
I got you. We're here.
That people do it for different reasons. Some of them are literally building a business brand, and others are doing it for a hobby. If you are doing your business for a hobby, you don't need to go to a business page.
Right.
Because there's work involved in building a business page. And hobbyists, people who collect coins, collect things, you don't do it every day. You might do it when the spirit moves you.
The girl who did my makeup, I told you.
Right.
She's just doing it for a hobby.
Right. Stay on your personal page.
Right.
And then, because in that case, you're not going to be posting about it every day.
Right.
And the community standards, the rules for Facebook is that you cannot use a personal page for all business.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you have to put in some personal things in between your business. You go to a business page, I don't have to talk about my family. I don't have to talk about, I can literally just post my product 50 times every minute on the second, and there's no penalty on the algorithm for doing that because its purpose is business.
Got it.
So that's the difference in it. But if you are trying to attract people to your lifestyle, which is what brings them over to your business, then a personal page is the best way to be, because you're going to be posting your lifestyle, which brings them into the cycle of the business.
Nice.
So there's
that's
those
good.
things.
I know we didn't intend to go in on that, but actually that made me think about how when I am, helping people to strategize, like what I need to think about instead of just always going to, no, you need a business page.
Right.
Why do you have this personal page? Like, so that gives me something to think about on that end.
And business page does allow you, like we were talking about, automation does allow you to automate. So whether you take the personal page and turn it into a professional page or not, the business page from get-go will allow you to schedule things as far out. And also, one thing I like now is I can go back 2 years to the date and just repost something that I posted 2 years ago. That may do better today because now I have thousands of followers that I didn't have 2 or 3 years ago. So there's that part.
And the other point is when you talked about going back. So not only can you can go back and see how well it did, how many people it reached, and all of that. Which on a personal page you don't necessarily get analytics
until you turn your personal page to a professional page.
Look
when
at
you
Meta.
turn the personal page to professional, you do get the analytics. So that's another benefit to having it as a professional page as well. Yeah.
Got it.
And I've seen some people who've changed their personal page to professional page, and I'm like, why? You're not selling nothing. You're not looking at no analytics. Like, you just did it because
it was an option.
Right. It was an option. But do you? Like, I'm not saying don't do it, but just understand that those options are there for you.
Right.
So I wanted to go back to your 2 programs that you use. So we talked about the one that you use for your customers. What's the ones that you use for?
It is funny. I told you
your onboarding of your employees.
And this one is the funny thing is, and I'm getting ready to pull it up because I want to make sure that I'm telling you correct. The funny thing is that when you asked me that, the only company, because I got these 2 companies at the same time. Okay. The only company that keep coming to my mind, I'm like, why does RingCentral keep coming to my mind? But that's RingCentral is who we now use for our phone system. Our business line. Let me tell you, when you call and you get an app just on your phone, like anything else, and this is something else that going into automation. When people call, it's like, okay, press 1 for this, press 2 for this, press 3 for this, and you can get them to get into the right bucket, right? Yeah. And so I got into RingCentral because I was like, you know what? At some point, we are going to, start having other people answer the phones and, helping to support us on that end, and we just need a more centralized way. But the app that we use or the service that we use for onboarding, and I was like, why? I pay this invoice every freaking, and I can't even think about it. And we're probably gonna have to come back to it. But I will definitely let you know what it's called.
Yeah, you can drop it in the links or drop it in the comments.
Right.
Post this for
sure.
It's
hilarious.
I'm interested in it.
Because when you told me, I was like, you know what? Let me look this up to see exactly. I'm looking to see if anybody has filled out the application so far, and I don't see any new people from this weekend. But again, I'll come back to that and I'll let you know what it is.
That's one of those things that I do when I know somebody has a system. Like I'll go and apply just so I can see what the process looks like. and sometimes it'll even have at the bottom like the name of the company that they're using. Like when I go to courses and do somebody's course, like they offer a free course, and it'll have like the branded part at the bottom of it of what product or app they're using to create the course, and I'll go look into that course and like,
and I've gone through several of these because, again, with me, I need to spend more time with reviews, but I don't. So I'm always going with either something that I've been recommended or something that, that has a lot of downloads. And it's so funny that I'm not finding it right now. This is crazy. But I'll come back to that. But I did want to go into a few other things that I feel like we should definitely bring up when it comes to automations. Invoicing, because nobody should be waiting to give you money, right? When somebody...
Or the follow-up on the invoice. Like, once you send the invoice as a company, you shouldn't have to remind... Like, the reminder can already be going out, like, 2/24. It's about to leave your cart. Like, those kind of invoice reminders.
So, do you have a particular company that you use?
No, because I have Shopify, and Shopify automatically sends the reminders. And then within Shopify... There's an app that I use, something live. I think it's something live because it allows me. It does my storage of my product, inventory. It inventories my product for me, and then it will do an add to cart. It'll suggest it's like an all-in-one process that sometimes I forget is there. And then when somebody pays their invoice, I'm like, how did they remember to pay that? Oh, the system sent them a reminder to pay it. So I like that because I have to remember to remind people. And if I do, because it's an old habit, that's because I will remember to do it. And then I'm like, oh, they got this double, which is fine too because you asked for it. So I don't mind bothering people about paying for something that you asked for.
Asked for it. Right.
Like you requested this item, so if the automatic system doesn't, and I happen to do it too, because we're on social media, so they become like family to me. And so I know, like, somebody who has a shopping habit that shops with me for, like, you shopped with me for a year, and you always pay your invoices on time, then I don't mind the system doing it and me doing it because they actually will receive it better from me because you're like family now. Right. So they would be like, oh, girl, I'm so sorry. I forgot. Somebody sent me, we had someone who passed away in our church family, and so I've really been helping them with that process. My apologies. I'm going to go pay it now, whatever. So there's that part. Depending on how your business is set up, like your customers, y'all don't become family. They don't even know the person behind the scene. They just know that the food is arriving.
They have no clue.
I'm the face of a lot of the things that I do, so they do actually feel like they know who I am, and may even feel like, dang, I don't want to lose our relationship, so let me go pay this.
Right. Another system that we've automated, and it's automated, but it's actually a little bit manual too, and I like the manual piece, because it adds that human touch to it, is the little chat box on the website. So when you go to our site, and we've actually, I think we've probably been using the chat box on the website for maybe a year. But the good thing about it is I feel like we're able to solve people's problems. So if they can't figure out something, or if they, if they're looking for a menu item and they're like, well, how do I order? It's on the restaurant's menu, but it's not on your site's menu. If that chat box wasn't there and they couldn't ask that question, I'm sure they just leave. Right. Because I know, even with myself, when I go to people's websites, I use the chat box.
Yeah.
Now, I need to let people know that there are humans that are actually behind the chat box. So it may start off automated, but at some point there's going to be a human to jump in. Right. Because I've actually had customers like curse and like be irate. And so then when I pick up the phone and call you, and I'm like, well, hello, Mr. Williams. I see that we're, having some communication issues online.
How may horrible.
And when normally they're drunk and they're like, oh my God, I didn't realize this was a human. No, yes. Right. How may I assist you? And then their tone changes and they're so apologetic. We've had this happen a few times and it's been hilarious.
They over there cussing out that bot. These daggone computers.
Well, I also will let you in on another secret to those, is that immediately when you start typing, you don't even have to hit enter. We can see what you're saying. Mm-hmm. So I've looked, and this has been like crazy. People will start typing in something, like, let's just say, they'll be like, hello, is anybody here? And, I'll say, welcome, how may I assist you? And then they go on they start typing something that, it may not be all the way appropriate. Right. And I'll go ahead and let them finish, because I'm like, but then, I have to let them know, I see where this is going. So we probably need to redirect and, go a different way to provide great customer service and to provide great customer experience. But that's something that I wouldn't have known until I actually was the one who was behind the scenes doing it, is that literally when you start typing, they're seeing.
Good to know. Right. Good to know, because, very good to know.
Which I actually think should probably not be the case, because it's so... you're into their first thought. Because I know with me, sometimes, right. And so this is a little scary, so watch what you're typing.
So, and this is my chance to get some free help, right? Without doing the discovery call and all that. So, advice. Mm-hmm. I'm going to meet with my great aunt. She owns a tax company, and she's ready to sell it, but she doesn't want to sell it like H&R Block has offered her. She wants to keep it within the family. Okay. So, I'm going to meet with her, because I don't want to learn taxes. Mm-hmm. But I can run a business. Mm-hmm. So I'm totally okay with taking it over and then hiring someone to come in and run the tax part, but I would be running the business, the operation of it. Because she is mature and has no systems and processes.
But she probably had these same clients for
years, right? So the idea is that some of them will drop off because it's going to be a new system. They don't want to adjust to this. That's fine. What would be your advice for someone who needs to put some kind of automation in place, because they don't have none. There's no automation at all. What would be your first 3 things you would suggest that they put in place? Just generally speaking, because she's offering a service, a tax service.
And I don't know if you know, but in the past, I've had a tax service. So that's why this is actually the perfect question and perfect industry.
For free. I'm going to go back and take notes, because I'm going to meet with her this weekend and talk with her about, one, I need to know how much she's profiting, because if we're going to set this up if I'm going to set it up for somebody to be running, to do the operations.
You got to make sure you can afford that person.
Right. Yeah. I need to know what profit is bringing in. And so we'll start there, and then we'll talk about a percentage that she's going to, she's handing it off. But I'd like for her, because she's retiring, I'd like for her to get a percentage from that continuously, always. And that's always begin to check for
that. That's the best way. When you're going to sell a business, or when you're going, one of the things I, always suggest is to make sure you get some type of residual, because that's just, and it's the family too.
And she's not going to take her hands out. She's going to be, I know. So, and I know I'll be referring to her for things like that. And I think she should get paid for me being able to refer to her for things for the business until she's just not here on the earth. Right. So that's part of it. But
so one of the biggest things is going to be your intake form. So I know from dealing with other tax professionals, now I get to the point where we don't even do our own taxes. We have other people to do it.
Right.
But there's still people that want to get you on the phone and want you to fill out all this stuff. And I'm like, just send me come on. So yeah, so the intake form. And then whether or not they actually, because I would send everybody an intake form, whether or not they're going to go with your service or not, because then you have this information, and next year, every year, and I don't know if she's did corporate taxes, but then with those people, depending on if she's into filing their quarterly taxes and all that, the business side of the taxes, you actually have way more revenue to make than that just one time.
A year,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I would definitely look into that. If she's not doing that, I'd look into adding the corporate side to the tax business as well.
Because I pay somebody. I actually got an invoice I got to pay right now for my accountant, and she does my quarterly taxes. Yes. Yeah, so that's definitely good money that I know she's getting from not just me, but from a lot of people on a monthly basis.
Right. So the intake form, and then also a way to be able to, once you have completed the taxes, how are you going to file it? Where is this information going to be stored? Because you do need to store it for, I think it was 3 to 5 years, whatever the number of years it was. Make sure that it's stored, but it needs to be automatic. So when it leaves your tax software, if the service that you're using doesn't automatically, store it in these different places, that's something that you need. There's plugins that you can use. I can't think of the plugin now, but there's plugins that you can use to be able to do that stuff for you. The other one, have you ever automated and this, I feel like anybody can do this, even with Gmail, but how your emails come in, what bucket, what folders they go into?
I've done it, because I get Grant Cardone's emails, and he sends emails probably 5 a day.
Oh, okay.
He's the person who believes in the
spamming you. Go ahead.
But and the thing is, it's good stuff. I just don't have time to read all. There's literally, I learn something new every time I open one of the emails, right? I finally, now it took me years. It actually took him being Mr. Omnipresent and being in my inbox so much. I'm like,
I don't want to delete them, but I need to do something with them.
Right. So now when they come in, if it's from his name, it automatically goes to his folder.
So I do that. So much stuff too. I do that with all of our bills, anything that we're going to get on a regular basis. So every day, our system emails a report, a daily report, okay? And then at the end of the month, it's going to email you a monthly report and a weekly report.
That's genius.
But when it comes in, it doesn't necessarily have to just be in my inbox. It's in each individual folder. So I always say,
I'm going on Fiverr. I'm gonna pay somebody to come in my email and set it up.
Okay. Well, no, because with the sort feature, you can do it, and so let's just say our utility bill, right? The name of the utility company, I just put that in. When I first set this up, I put that name in the search feature. All of them came up, and I just batch moved them over. But then I created the rule to be able to, when a new one comes in, it goes over to that folder.
I'm paying for somebody to come in one time and set it up one time. I changed my email. They go about their life, and now from now on it comes in, it's just gonna flow.
Right?
Because the funny thing is, that's how you explain it. Sounds really easy to you, but for me,
I understand.
It's better for me to just pay somebody. And honestly, I could probably go on Fiverr and pay somebody. It'd be worth it to me to pay somebody $50 one time to set that up, or $100 one time to set that up.
Well, with me though, because I have so many emails that come in, I wouldn't necessarily know what to tell them. I need to go through it first.
Gotcha.
And then once I get it, and then you got the system that does it. So me personally, just because I have so many things coming in from so many directions, I needed to do it first to see what it is that I truly needed to keep, and all of that.
So the first thing was to set up I gotta go back.
When your intake form.
Intake form is the very first thing. Okay, intake form, and then
your email batch. Because again, when you're dealing with a whole bunch of tax questions that people, so your intake forms, they come in, they go to a folder. You know what I'm saying? So all these different things for your business, because now not only are you operating the business that you're currently serving, now you have this brand new business that have all these other expenses and things that are coming in. So making sure that you don't miss it, because I know, like I said, with me, I will miss it because I have so much going on in my inbox.
Which is why I'm glad my accountant's invoice system automatically sends me a reminder.
Facts. Yes.
So she had that system set up. Okay, so we got the intake process, the emails automated. Those are two great things.
And then the last one is going to be your social media, because again, when you're coming in, this isn't a new business, but you need new customers, and you're always going to need new customers in your tax business. And so, well, let me ask you this. Are you planning on, because what I really like are the tax companies that are teaching people how to like be their own agents and kind of work under them. That's a thing, you know, that's really going on now, which I like the model, because it's, unless you're going to keep hiring agents that are just solely going to work for you, you're going to reach a ceiling as far as how many tax returns that your company can do.
Right.
So to be able to, and I think it's the EO is what you have to get, and I can't think of the name of the originating something, but that particular, once you hold that that license or whatever, then you're able to bring in people under you, and they can go out and get their own clients, but they're working under your number, so that you have to, you know, you essentially get a percentage or a fee or something. I like to jump into businesses and figure out what other.
Baby, I got a business. You about to jump in. It's gonna be my business week. I think that's a great place to wrap up. We're gonna talk about this. This is good, because my mind is already swirling. Like, okay, Auntie, you ready to come out? I'm ready to come in. Yes, it's a beautiful thing. But I do like those 3 tips are, I think, not just for the tax business, but that's equivalent and can be put to anybody's business. Like the intake, because everybody, if you're a counselor, the intake process, right? Because I've had counselors for myself. I've had counselor for our relationship, my marriage. I've had counselor for my teenage daughter. And so when I think about the intake process for them, like, I feel like some of them are missing out on money because they're intaking, like, the first process is to meet with them personally. Right. And there could be a lot of things that are already taken. We could dive into the depths of it if they had just sent me an intake first, read over it, and then they could have came to our first face-to-face or online discovery call, or whatever you want to call it, with specific things to ask me based on the intake process.
And with that industry and how they intake, they can actually go a step further, which is ask you some questions, but give you the option to submit a video.
Right.
So because I feel like at that point they can kind of feel.
You're giving the people too much. Step back.
Okay.
That's a whole other 30, 45 minutes right there, baby. So if I was to close out today, I just want to say this was a great conversation. Whatever you have walked away with, please drop your number 1 takeaway in the comments, because not only will you be helping us, you'll be helping other people who are going to come through and watch this and feel and read your comment and be like, ooh, I need that too. And they're going to listen in. So drop those things in the comments, and we will definitely see you back here next time for Convene with the Strategy Team.